Hello everyone and welcome to Never Done Homestead. Sarah here, and today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to give you a tour of our homestead's gardens. Alright, let's start the garden tour up at the east end of the main garden, which has our first planting of sweet corn, followed by green beans, younger green beans. This is our second planting of green beans. Then we have our fall cauliflower and broccoli in this row. And then here's some slicing cucumbers they're just starting to flower. And here's our mismatchy area of the garden. We have potatoes, walk in here, potatoes, and those are icicle radish bed right there. We have some cauliflowers down in here. We have a tomato plant, some potato plants, more icicle radishes there, some baby beets there, high curry turnips there. Yeah, a little bit of everything, no rhyme or reason to this section of the garden. Green bell peppers, and we're just starting to pick green peppers off them. And then we have 3 rows of onions here in this bed. We don't grow a lot of onions simply because we're not really great at growing them. Although this year we planted them from seed. We started them in the house. And we're actually getting some nice onions. So maybe if that turns out, we'll plant more onions next year. And this empty area is where the garlic was. We already harvested the garlic. It's in the barns curing. And they mulched it down and put some manure on it and let it rest, because garlic really takes a lot of nutrients out of the ground. So we're just letting this area rest. And here is our first planting of green beans. These are provider beans, and they do provide a lot of beans. We've picked so many times already off this patch. I'm wondering if I really should have planted that other patch you saw in the beginning of the video, because we already have a lot of beans. Okay, here we have, this is celery that's doing not so well. And then these are zucchini and yellow squash, which I don't think I should have planted them there because they're going to get way too big and crowd everything. But you know how it is in the spring, you just want to plant everything? Yeah, I get that too. This is a hill of carrots here. We have to thin them out, but we put in a lot of seed because sometimes they don't germinate really well. So we plant a lot and then we thin out little baby carrots for salads and stuff and make room for the big carrots. Empty spot. And then these are the sweet potatoes. We grow a lot of sweet potatoes because they go really well for us and we really like them. And they grow on hills too, like the carrots. But you can see they've completely filled in this area. And here's our flowers in the front of the garden by the garden gate. You have to have flowers. And then let's see, what do we have in here? It's kind of hard to see. You got lettuce going to seed here with these hot peppers, and here is where we pulled out our old strawberry bed and we put a hill in, and we have a second planting of carrots, and those aren't even up yet, so we're hoping they come up nicely like the first ones. And here is the patch of pickling cucumbers, which they're just starting to produce. We already have 3 jars of pickles fermenting, and there's going to be a lot more cucumbers coming out of there. And here we have 3 rows of red beets that are being taken over by the cucumbers. And then at the end, at the west end of this garden, are the white potatoes, which are just about ready to come out. So we put some more fall crops in here. And now we're over in our second garden behind the house. And this one's mostly tomatoes. We have 150 tomatoes in here. And they're growing pretty nicely. We're really behind. We got these in really late because this area ended up being really wet. And it's actually still really wet. So our tomatoes are behind most people, but I think they're gonna be just fine. And then also I just put these fall cabbages in, 80 fall cabbages. They're still really tiny, but they look kind of sad because they were just underwater again. This area is ending up being not the best place to plant this year because of all this rain. And off the side of the tomato and cabbage field, we have this small planting of sweet corn, but it keeps it's underwater more often than it's not, so it's not doing real well. I mean, it's doing well enough considering how many times it's been flooded, but it could really use some drying out time so it can actually grow. And now over at the side of the house in the berry orchard, we have a bed of slicing cucumbers, which is doing very poorly. It contracted some sort of blight, or I'm not exactly sure what it is, but we were trying really hard to save it because it's just starting to put cucumbers on. There's one needs to be picked. And we're doing experimental treatment this year. We're using colloidal silver and raw milk. We do those alternately. One day we'll do silver, one day raw milk. And the patch is, you can see it's starting to, along the edge, it's starting to put new leaves out and tons of flowers. So I'm kind of thinking it might be working. But we're using the colloidal silver and milk actually in all the gardens and all the crops because they have lots of benefits. And we'll let you know in the season how this experiment goes. And then the last thing I have to show you is our big sweet corn patch, which this is a crop field. Normally this is just a regular crop field here in front of the house. It runs along the driveway, but so the weeds are terrible in here, and the soil isn't real great. But it's growing pretty good. We had to plant over some of it, so we have two different sizes of corn in here. But the boys put down manure along the plant. You can see. I think you can see better from this angle. Along the corn, they put a row of, actually there's sheep manure from the sheep barn from this winter, and they put a row down every single row in this corn patch. It was a huge job, but they got it done for us, and the corn has just turned beautiful dark green, and I think we're going to get an awesome sweet corn crop. And so now we worked all the way around back to the main garden again, so I guess our tour is done. And harvest season is just on the verge of starting. You spend all the time this spring you're working to get everything in the ground, weeded, grown, and then you think, oh, finally, and then it's harvest season, you go crazy again. So that's what we're looking forward to next. Everybody's been working so hard. Every single family member, all 11 of us, have put time into this garden. When you have a garden this big, it's got to be a group effort. It's just too much for just a few people to do. But so there you go. Thanks for joining our garden tour for July at Never Done Homestead. And this is why we have a fence around our garden.